part of the PinstripeChronicles podcast. I'm Tats. I'm here with Donald, Rob, and man, are we ever in a good mood if we ever were. 11 in a row. It's a good thing to be a Yankee fan. And I just have one question for you, Donald, and that is, how could you ever doubt this team after what we've
All right. 11. Here we go. That's awesome, man. 11 straight. And you're right. But who saw this coming? But you know what's awesome? Little league ball. I was watching this. This is like watching the 90s Yankees. This is great.
Like the Trevino rundown was...
Oh, it was the best.
That was the best.
That was the best. Even though I think the umpires were really generous with him, considering I think he got tagged. And I think he ran off the baseline, but who cares? It's just awesome. Trevino, high IQ baseball, just kept going, just did whatever he could, and he got rewarded for it. You earn your luck in this game, and he certainly did that. I loved that. First of all, he tried to do a sacrifice squeeze to get the runner in, and then went, screw it, I'll just get in this rundown thing, and then I'll get the job done. And he did. So Trevino gets high marks for me for that. And just in general, just contact hitting, smart baseball, fundamentals. And then obviously Big G. And Aaron Judge was amazing. My God, Aaron Judge was on fire. He really won the game there. Yeah. First of all, that blast. Because Aaron Hicks, the only boneheaded thing that we did all game was Aaron Hicks taking the bat out of his hands by getting himself caught stealing. But then Aaron Judge is like, "Don't worry, bro, I got you."
When that happened, the one thing that I think when you're watching as a fan, you don't take into account, if the runner is still on base, he might not get that same pitch sequence.
That's true.
So it's like, oh, if only this guy was on. Yeah, but if they had to run a run, what pitches? It's
the fallacy of the predetermined outcome. You're right. It's a fallacy of the predetermined outcome. But I think that you shouldn't really be stealing when you've got a guy like Judge or Stanton up at the plate, unless it's like the ninth inning or something like that, and you're needing maybe needing one run to scrape through. I would say that you probably don't want
to. That's what it was.
Yeah, it's just a little bit early to maybe do that. I would just kept Aaron. I wouldn't have taken the bat out of Aaron Judge's hands, but still, Hicks got on base 4 times, so I don't want to pick too many holes into him. But no, in general, it was just very good fundamental baseball. Taillon was pitched an amazing game, and then Stanton hit a home run that's still flying, and everything's looking good in Yankee world. But as I say, this is Yankee fundamental baseball, man. This is great. And props to Aaron Boone for putting this team out there. It's fun to watch.
Yeah. Taillon actually has the 5th best ERA in the American League going back to July of last year. So he's been very, very solid coming back from the 2 injuries. And since he finally got to 100% and got back into that mode of pitching every 5th day, the pitching staff in general has been incredible. I think our highest ERA is Sevy, like a 3.7 or something, which is like really good. So yeah, I love what we're seeing from the pitching. Offensively, it's just different this year because we were getting shut down, and you're like, yeah, they probably don't do. Last year, they don't win that game. They just roll over and probably get shut out. And next thing you know, Judge ties it, and they put 7 on the board, and then you scored 9 unanswered runs in the last 3 innings. We don't do that these last couple of years. This is a different team, and they're not doing it with just power. Yeah, the Judge home run, the Stanton home run, but just smart baseball, something we have not seen.
Yeah, but when you're putting up 9 runs with only 2, with only 2 homers, that's it really amplifies and what they've been able to do. So it's just been phenomenal how they've been able to manufacture runs, not just sit back and wait for the long ball.
Yeah,
that's what's great.
It's very good to see. It's about time. I think they know because they have some more contact in the lineup, and they do have a quote unquote weak spot at catcher. So they know they're not going to get offense there. So they got to do what they can at the bottom of the order. But I mean, as long as Aaron Hicks is not hitting with runners on base, he's been really good. Yep. So maybe the key is leading him off, actually, because usually maybe nobody will be on base when he's up and he'll get on. And I don't know. Maybe that's the way to do it. But he's worked out in the leadoff spot so far, as has LeMahieu. And so, I mean, if LeMahieu doesn't play, then you can have Hicks lead off. So it's a pretty good scenario there with all the rotation they have to do. And again, hats off to Aaron Boone. He's making it work. He was given a rough situation going into the season, having to rotate so many different starting caliber players into a 9-man lineup. And so far it has worked because everyone's getting good playing time and they're contributing. Marwin Gonzalez is contributing and he's only played a handful of games. So
I think yesterday was his 7th game. Yeah. And I don't know how many of those he started. I didn't go back and go through all the lineups, but it was the 7th game that he was in. And when you first saw his name in the lineup, you're going, all right, it's not the, I don't know if he's the best person to be putting in the outfield. But we don't know what's going on with Gallo yet. They still haven't made a decision on that. But if they're going to be putting together games like they are, I think it's fair to say that we need to stop questioning the lineup and just go, okay, this, whatever they're putting out is working. So just sit back and enjoy it, and don't look for the negative because they haven't given us many negatives to think about.
Another thing that I'd like to say that reminds me of the 90s is the fact that we've now got role players that contribute on a daily basis, and it's a throwback to an era when we were dominant, was when we could rely on guys, utility guys, so like you name it, Soho, for instance, and Vizcaíno or Ricky Leday or whatever, and you got utility guys that you can put in that are just going to come in and do a good job, And so, for instance, yesterday was Marwin Gonzalez. The day before it was Tim LaCastro. So you're now reeling off utility guys, which are contributing. You've got smart defensive high IQ catchers like Trevino, so it's from very, very much like Joe Girardi back in the 1996 team. It's a totally different Yankee. Was it 1996? Joe Girardi was the backup catcher. Was it 98? 98, wasn't it?
He was there 98, I think. Well, he was there 96 as well, I think.
Or that was 1998. It was 98. 98. So
on it.
But still, it's still the same thing. It's just smart, high IQ baseball players that are coming in on a role basis, like Marwin Gonzalez did yesterday. He looked great, and so it's another good sign moving forward. So that if we need to give guys a day off, you got guys like Marwin Gonzalez is going to come in and give you quality at bats. So 4 times a game.
I mean, we talked about this before the season, and Donald, you didn't want to make a big deal about it, and I was, and it was a minor league signing, and when he made the team, he had a really good spring, and it was like he's just a role player, and a team that had so many injuries in the previous years, and you knew this rotation was coming. That's why I was really, I want to say, high on the move, because it was a veteran bat that can play everywhere. The guy plays every position except catcher, and he's a switch hitter, which gives you an extra lefty when you're going against a righty. It just made a lot of sense to have him on the bench. In cases like yesterday, he came through. So far, he's only had like 13, something like at bats. So it's nothing to really go crazy about, but he's hitting 300. He's contributing. He's playing solid defense, and he's hitting the ball. Right now, he's doing what we brought him in to do, which is just play every so often and contribute any way you can. And so far, so good. Again, a lot can change. That's not going to keep up. We know
you're right. We'll take the L on that. I didn't think Marwin Gonzalez was going to be anywhere near as valuable as he's turned out to be.
Well, that was part of the crankiness in the beginning of the season was bringing in Gonzalez. LaCastro. It had us shaking our heads while you still had all these premium free agents. Now we're looking back going, if this is what we're going to get out of those two guys, man, this is why we sit here and not at the GM office. There's a reason.
I got caught up in the free agent fever.
Well, everybody did. Nobody's innocent from that.
Let's be fair. This doesn't excuse Cashman necessarily from passing up on an elite class of free agents. It's great to see this happening right now because it clearly means the coaching is doing its job well, and these guys are playing their role. But it still doesn't excuse the fact that one of the richest team in sports passed up on premium free agents at every position of need. So I don't want to keep raising Cashman's ego through the roof. This is not going to happen every time. It's good to see it happening right now because a player like Tim LaCastro, what he's for, speed. He's not there to hit 300 off, and start every day. He's there to pinch run and give you stolen bases, basically what they wanted Tyler Wade to be. So that's fine. Yep. You know what Marwin Gonzalez is, a bench player that's going to come in, play anywhere you need him to play, and he'll get you a hit maybe once every 4 at-bats, which is fine. But we knew the team had a really good core in the lineup. It just needed a couple of tweaks. This doesn't excuse the fact that the Donaldson trade, even though so far it's worked out because IKF has been great. But again, the free agent class was still really, really good. I don't want to keep dwelling on it because we're winning, but let's not give a complete pass to Cashman just yet.
Yeah. No, that's exactly. That's what it is.
Michael Kay has said on a number of occasions during the telecast that Alex Cora has said that the Marwin Gonzalez signing was the sleeper signing of the offseason from the Yankees because he was fully confident that Marwin Gonzalez, now that he's healthy, is going to contribute in a big way. It's turned out to be the case. So we should try and look for ways to get him more regular at bats once a week.
But as much as we're talking about that, it's still the other thing to really put focus on is this pitching staff, and between Blake and Harkey, how they're able to navigate and keep these guys going is just remarkable, and it really just leaves you speechless. Because here you have an offense that like Toronto that we expected, and I expected to go toe to toe with. I thought the offenses were just going to be unstoppable in this series. I expected a lot more scoring from both sides, and it was just going to be a toss-up of who scored the last run. So to see that this offense, the pitching has been able to shut down the Toronto offense is just utterly insane. When you look at the names in that on the other, on Toronto, they should not be scoring only 1 run.
Yes, they should.
Well, you know what I mean.
When they play us, they should score 0.
Yeah.
Score 0 every game you play us. No, it is really good to see because Matt Blake deserves a lot of credit. These pitchers deserve a lot of credit though. Like tip your cap to Taillon, tip your cap to Monty. Hopefully we can say the same thing about Nestor after he pitches tonight. They're doing the job. Every single pitcher on this staff right now is contributing in some way. I mean, some guys had slow starts, but they've picked it up, like Litke and even Loizaga. But this rotation in general, like you really can't find a bad pitcher right now because the last 2 starts, Cole's looked like his usual self. So now our ace is getting going, and the other 4 have already been really good, and they're continuing that trend. So now that we've gotten through that first month, and you're going to start to see them stretch out more pitches. Taillon went 6 last night, so that was good to see. I mean, if this keeps going for the first few months, we're going to win a lot of games. Eventually, I'm not trying to sound negative, but baseball is baseball. Eventually, there's going to be that bump in the road where one of these guys start to struggle a little bit. It just happens. But if we can go the first couple of months where this is keeping up, we're going to win a lot of games.
Taillon is another one that's taken me by surprise. He was sensational yesterday. So his curveball was really elite, and his two-seamer. He was working on a cutter now this year, and it's really paid off for him. That little cutter, just getting really good movement on that, and he was keeping them off base. I mean, he went toe to toe with one of the best pitchers in the American League yesterday. Going into the game, he had the pitcher for Toronto had a 4.0 with a 1.44 ERA. Going into the game, and obviously he shut us down, but we managed to get him out of the game fairly early, and then
Manoah went into that game winning 12 of his last starts.
Insane. And then we tattooed their bullpen, and that was that's a throwback to when we were a dominant winning franchise. It was get those quality starters out early-ish, get them up to 90, 100 pitches, get them out of the game, attack their bullpen. And that's what we did. So it was smart. And Taillon, it's now actually looking like a very, very solid rotation. Taillon.
Well, that's what it was. Yesterday was pretty much, it was 2 games in one. If you look at the first half of that game, Manoah was just pitching like Manoah. I mean, let's just call him an ace at this point, because he is just he's insane to watch. His control and his poise and everything. He's going to keep elevating his stock as one of the premier pitchers in the league. And we have Taillon, who we still have questions about, even though he's been delivering every time. You know, like you just stated with some of the numbers, Donald. And they were able to wear him out and really put solid at-bats together without the run productivity to build up his pitch count to get him out of the game into that bullpen. That was going to be the key to that game. How quick can you get Manoah off the mound? That's when the second game started, when it was just a battle of the bullpens, and our bullpen was just that much better.
100%. Couldn't agree with more.
Yeah, that pitching matchup was actually really good, because that stat I brought up earlier, Manoah and Taillon are both on that list for top 5 in ERA going back to July of last year. Yeah. Manoah's fantastic, and Taillon's been really, really good for us since July of last year. So the pitching in the series in general has been good. The starting pitching, because they kept us pretty much shut down 2 games in a row from their starters at least. So, our offense, but again, it was Glaber in game 1 that got the big hit late. And then yesterday we just tore them apart. So tonight, hopefully we can get Kikuchi off the mound early. He's struggling so far. So if we can put some runs on the board, that'd be nice early on.
Are they pitching him tonight? Because I know they were working on some things with him.
He's scheduled to go unless they change something. Okay. He's the current starter for them so far. But if we can get some runs early and Nestor can do his thing, give us 5 like he usually does, there's a good chance we come away with the sweep here. Yeah. The fact that we got the series win is good enough. But, there's a good chance we can pull off the sweep if we can get some runs early against Kikuchi. We can't let him get into a rhythm.
Yeah, no, he's another one of those. When you get it, once he gets comfortable, that's it. It's you got to strike early. But
what about Aaron Judge?
Give him the goddamn captain, or just give him the extension. Give him captain.
Give him the money already. Pay the man already. I don't care. What do you need? What do you want?
What more does he have to do? He's one of the best players in the league. And I continue to say this because earlier this year, when Vlad killed us in that one game, Donald said, we don't have a player like Vlad Jr. And I was like, well, when he gets hot,
we kind of do,
Aaron Judge. And he's is showing us Aaron Judge is that guy. When he is on, there's not many players that can do what he does when he's hitting, and he's playing excellent in the field yet again. He's hitting like a monster. That ball hasn't landed yet. Stanton's homer hasn't landed yet. I think we're like 17-1 when they both homer in the same game. So that's the key to winning, is just have both of them go deep, and we're going to win the ball game. But Aaron Judge is insane. He's a top 5 player in baseball when healthy. He continues to prove it. Give him the money. Give him the damn captain status. He deserves it.
I mean, his best hit was actually the one that the go-ahead hit that smacked in the gap. He absolutely crushed that. And then, of course, that home run was immense too. And obviously because at that point when Hicks got thrown out, we were like, oh, here we go. This is another inning blown. But Aaron Judge is just like, no, I got you, bro. And he absolutely annihilated that pitch. So he is on fire right now. I just want us to pay him, man. What do you want? Private jet? Chrysler building? What do you want? Nice. So now I'm excited. I'm excited about Judge. He's gonna have a big year. I just really hope we get him, pay him in the All-Star break. Once we get to the All-Star break, like, right, what do you want? Let's just do it. Let's just get it done.
I know they don't like to negotiate in the season, but that would be a perfect time to try to see if you can squeak something together.
Got to make an exception for your best player. You have to. You got to swallow your pride if you're the Yankees. If you can go to the All-Star break and say, look, we got a few days. Do you want to talk contract again? If he says no, then that's on him. He can't do anything about it. But if he says, let's do it, get the guy signed, because you can't let him hit free agency. If he has on this pace, he's going to have a season similar to 2017, which will probably get an MVP that was stolen from him. And he's going to sign elsewhere for a lot more money. And it's a very big fear of mine to see him wearing blue and orange. So I really don't want to see that happen. So please get this guy signed, because I don't want to see him with Steve Cohen in a freaking press conference next year.
No, God. You talk about a freaking nightmare.
Shout out to the Blue Jays fan. Did you guys see the Blue Jays fan who caught the ball, the Judge's home run in the stand, and then handed it to a Yankee Aaron Judge fan, a little kid, and the kid was so happy, he hugged the guy, and he was crying and stuff. Well, happiness. I mean, that's just what baseball is all about, man. That's there's like, Blue Jays and the Yankees, just fans looking out for each other. That's the kind of thing that's kind of special, that makes baseball that little bit of something a bit more special than maybe other sports. There's catching the ball, giving it to a little kid. That's what it's all about, man. It's a family sport passed on through the generations. That was a heartwarming story as well, because obviously NFL games, fans hate each other and go nuts and pour beer on each other and fight each other and stuff. But baseball's different, unless of course it's the Yankees, Red Sox. But in general, baseball's still different. These still families look out for each other, and it's a family sport. And I just thought that was really heartwarming. So shout out to the Blue Jays, great fan base, great city over there. So I wish them the best as well.
Surprised that wasn't Blue Jays' dad. I thought that was Blue Jays' dad that would have done that. The guy's so nice. I was like, that's Blue Jays' dad.
They're nice in Canada.
It's like, dude, these last two games, he's the only one that I really feel bad for, because like I say, he's such a nice guy. I hate for him to be aggravated, but hey, it is what it is. This is sports for you. This is, we'll like you again after the series.
No, I just thought that was awesome.
No, that really was a great baseball moment and a great humanitarian moment. That you still have people like that in the world. It gives you hope.
The world needs it, for sure.
I think that's the positive note we need to end this on.
Well, I think we can also end the note on Stanton's home run. That was unbelievable, because that was a tough breaking ball. I don't know how he managed to just...
Well, the guy was only throwing curveballs. All he had to do was figure out the goddamn timing of it.
Yeah, but to hit that far...
Yeah, no, that
go technically farther than Aaron Judge's home run to hit the scoreboard against Kansas City. It went even farther than that. I don't even know how he managed to golf a curveball off speed and managed to generate that much power and absolutely send it into the moon. I mean, this man is special. And off air, you had a hilarious joke. Tats, please tell.
Oh, with the guy, the idiot that jumped on stage at Dave Chappelle's show, who got just completely messed up. And my first reaction to seeing his arm, I thought that was the bet that Stanton used for the home run, because that was just mangled. Oh my God, I still can't get over what I saw. I heard about the story, and then when I saw the video you sent, I was like, holy crap.
That's the
listen, kids.
That's where the ball landed. Hit the guy right in the arm and just muted him.
Listen, kids, there's a lesson to you. Don't jump the stage, and especially don't mess with Dave Chappelle.
Don't mess with someone who's got like 30 people backstage just waiting for something.
Badasses.
Don't jump the stage. Stay in the crowd. Enjoy the show.
I wonder what he's thinking now when he's been airlifted to hospital and he's, he's lost body parts and stuff. He's probably thinking, yeah, probably could have just stayed in his seat,
Yeah, I can't wait to tell my grandkids. I can't wait to tell my grandkids about this. Why is it wrong in 15 directions, Dave Chappelle?
Even gonna have an arm after that? That might have to take the thing off. That looks bad.
You hate to laugh at somebody's pain like that, but this is like the exception to the rule.
He deserves it. He deserves every one. I wonder how he picks up a fork now. Like that.
Sipping his food through a straw in the hospital because he ain't using that hand. That's for sure.
Yeah, he won't be using that hand for much at all.
Awesome. That made my day.
Well, all right, that's good. That things up for us today. Just remember, like, share, comment, and subscribe. Check us out at sportname.com/player. Northeast Streaming Sports on Roku. Weigh your pinstripes for pride. Let's sweep the series. Keep it going.
Let's go for 12. V1 12. V1 12.
Weigh your pinstripes for pride and play hard.